Okay, good morning guys, or good evening. My name is Mr. Ahmed Ibrahim and I will be with you today going through revision for level 3. The first thing we'll start with is present continuous. Okay guys, I'm sure like you've heard this before, but let's remind ourselves. When do we use present continuous? Present continuous is a tense that we use when we're speaking about something that is happening right now or at the moment. Now let's see examples for how can we make a sentence in present continuous. For example, mainly if I want to make a sentence in the present continuous, I put the one who did the verb, the subject, then verb to be that comes with it, then the verb plus ing. Now with the example. I'm sure you are well aware that verb to be in the present has 3 forms. Am, if I'm speaking about myself, if I use I. If the subject or the one who did the verb is singular, it means one person, like he or she or it or any name. So if the subject is singular, I use is, as you can see here. If the subject is plural, and by plural I mean more than one, I use are. So let's see the examples. I am speaking. It means I'm speaking right now and I'm speaking about myself. Common mistakes that people usually do when they speak about this, they either forget verb to be or the ing of the sentence. So let's go again with the examples. I am speaking, and it means I'm speaking right now. If I'm speaking about another person, he is speaking, and it means like this person is speaking right now. Other example, if I'm speaking about a girl, I use she. She is speaking. Now let's go with the plural. If I would use something like we, verb to be becomes or switches from is to are. We are speaking. They are speaking, and so. Now one of the most important things about any tense is how to make a sentence and how to make it negative. Negative is simply, it means to cancel what I actually did. Like for example, now this verb, the verb of doing this, is snapping. Now I'm snapping my finger. Now I am not snapping my finger. So negative is actually cancelling what I'm doing or the meaning that I want to say. Negative in the sentence means not. And where do we actually put it? We put it after verb to be. Now, for more examples, let's go and see. Remember the sentences we wrote a few minutes ago? Now we have instead of saying I am speaking, if I want to make it negative, I am not speaking. Instead of saying he is speaking, we say he is not speaking. Instead of saying she is speaking, we say she is not or she isn't speaking. So bottom line, if I want to make a sentence, like the one who did the verb to be that comes with it, and the verb with ing. If I want to make it negative, I add not to the helping verb, which is verb to be. So I am becomes I am not. She is becomes she isn't or she is not. He is becomes he isn't or he is not. You are becomes you aren't or you are not. They are becomes they aren't or they are not. As you can see here in the examples. Okay, I will assume that everything is clear, and now we will go for some exercise. Now I will give you some random words, and I want you from these words to form a sentence and to make it in the negative. Again, now I will show you some random words, and I want you to use these words to make a sentence. After you make a sentence, you make this sentence in the negative. For example, Mr. Ahmed and speak. two words. If I want to make a sentence in present continuous, it will be Mr. Ahmed is speaking. If I want to make it negative, Mr. Ahmed isn't speaking. Now, let's go. First sentence. After I show you the sentence, I will give you like 10 or 20 seconds to think of the answer. Then I will show you the correct one. Mr. Johnson sit in her garden. Sorry, Mrs. Johnson sit in her garden. Now you have to use these words to make a sentence in present continuous. After you do that, I want you to use the same words to make the same sentence in the negative. So, take your time. Now let's see the correct answer. Mr. Johnson is sitting in, sorry, Mrs. Johnson is sitting in her garden. It means, she's sitting right now. Now, if I want to make it negative, is becomes isn't. So the sentence becomes, Mrs. Johnson isn't sitting in her garden. Another example. It's taking time. Mrs. Johnson played the piano. Now take your time, use these words, and make a sentence in present continuous. After you do or you make the sentence in present continuous, I want you to make the same sentence but in the negative form. Now let's go and see the correct answer. The sentence, Mr. Johnson is playing the piano. Is, because Mr. Johnson here is one person, singular, so we use is. Mr. Johnson is playing the piano. The negative form, Mr. Johnson isn't playing the piano. Another example. The sun and shine. Take your time. Write a sentence using these words in the present continuous. Now let's go and see the correct answers. The sun is shining. And let me ask you a question here. Do you notice anything different between the verb we used in the present continuous sentence and the original verb? Can you see the mouse? Okay, if you look here and focus, you'll find that the verb shine in the original case of shine. Just 1 second. This one, can you see? If you focus here, you'll find that the original form of the verb, we have E at the end of the verb. Okay? But in the sentence with the present continuous, we don't have this E. So you have to be very careful. We have something like a rule in English. As you know from before, we have two types of letters. Some letters are called consonant letters, or the other type is called vowel letters. What are the vowel letters? I, E, O, A, and let me just write it for you to make it easier. Where is the writing? Just 1 second. I, A, O, U, and E. These letters are called the vowel letters. So we have something like a rule in English. You cannot have two vowel letters following each other in two different words, or like when you add something to a word. So usually when we have a word like this, a word like shine, and like ending with a vowel letter, As you know, with present continuous, we add ing at the end of the verb. So how can we solve this problem? When I make it in present continuous, I remove the E. I lose it. So the sun and shine, see shine here has an E. When I made it in present continuous, it became the sun is shining. No E, just ing directly. Now let's go with the negative form of the sentence. The sun isn't shining. Another example. 3 dogs swim in the river. Take your time. Take your time. Remember, I need you to make a sentence in the present continuous and make it negative. So the sentence will be 3 dogs something. Sorry, that's cycle. 3 dogs are. It should be 3 dogs are swimming in the river. Why did we use are here, not is? Because the one who did the verb, the one who is swimming in the river, they are plural, more than one, 3. Okay, so 3 dogs are swimming in the river. And if I want to make it negative, sorry, this one should be aren't, another people. So 3 dogs aren't swimming in the river. Now let's go with another example. A cat sleeps in a tree. Take your time, make the sentence. Now with the correct answer. A cat is sleeping in a tree. And now remind me again, why did we use is, not am or are? Because am is when I speak about myself. When I say I am. But a cat, because it's singular, so it takes is. A cat is sleeping in a tree. The negative form, a cat isn't sleeping in a tree. Some men talk near the post office. Some men talk near the post office. You know the meaning of the word near? Near, it means close. Like, see my fingers? Now they are near. The opposite of near, far. Near, far. So near has the same meaning as close. Some men talk near the post office. Make the sentence. Now let's see the correct answer. Oh my God. Not another. Sorry guys, again, another title. Some men are talking near the post office. And if I want to make it negative, it will be some men aren't talking near the post office. Dr. Jones worked in her office. You say it, you write it. Okay, excellent. It will be Dr. Jones is working in her office. Negative form. Dr. Jones isn't working in her office. A policeman. A policeman walked down the street. The sentence will be, a policeman is walking down the street. Can anyone guess what's the meaning of down the street? You know, in English we have something called idioms. Idioms, it means like some words, when I put them together, they give me a new meaning or a different meaning from the meaning of each word. An example for this, like piece of cake. Everybody knows the meaning of the word piece. Everybody knows the meaning of the word cake. Like a piece of cake. But when we use it in English, piece of cake, when you put them together, they mean easy. So, for example, when I ask you, how was the exam? You tell me it was piece of cake. It doesn't mean that you ate the exam. It means that the exam was easy. So, same here. Down the street, the one we have at the sentence, it doesn't mean I have a street and like policemen are walking down the street. No. Down the street here is an idiom, and it means at the end of the street. So, a policeman is walking down the street. If I want to make it negative, a policeman isn't walking down the street. The owner take a photograph of her brother. Again, the owner take a photograph of her brother. Take your time first, try to solve it alone to make the sentence and the negative. Then we will check the answers together. So, it shall be Fiona is taking a photograph of her brother. And if you notice, again, the same note we had with the word shine. Take is a verb that has a vowel letter at the end, that has an E. When I wanted to make it in present continuous, I removed the E. It became taking with this spelling. See? No E. So, Fiona is taking a photograph of her brother. Now if I want to make it negative, Fiona isn't taking a photograph of her brother. And be very, very careful. Some people, they don't know how to make it negative, and some people make mistake and they don't know where to put not in the sentence. Sometimes before verb to be, sometimes after the real or the main verb I have in the sentence. To make any sentence, not comes after the helping verb. In this case, we have verb to be. Again, a new sentence. Some boys eat ice cream near the school. Some boys eat ice cream near the school. Take your time, make a sentence. Okay, are you ready? Now let's check the correct answer. Some boys are eating ice cream, sorry, not is, and aren't. Now let's move on with the other slide. Some birds fly over the pond. Some birds fly over the pond. Take your time, make the sentence. And let's go. Sorry again, same typo over and over. Some birds are flying over the park. And the other one shall be some birds aren't flying over the park. A little girl ride her bicycle. You make the sentence, and this time be careful. Focus with the verb. You know, the note reader. A little girl ride her bicycle. Take your time. Now let's go through it. A little girl is riding her bicycle. And as you can see here, no E, no vowel. So, a little girl is riding her bicycle. The negative, a little girl is not or isn't riding her bicycle. The next sentence. Jane and Peter drink coffee in the bar. Jane and Peter drink coffee in the bar. Take your time thinking. Now again, as usual, as all the other sentences, make them in present continuous, then make them negative. And remember guys, focus. Here, we don't have Jane or Peter, it's Jane and Peter. So the one who did the verb is not singular, it's plural. Okay, excellent, you guessed it. Jane and Peter are drinking coffee in the bar. If I want to make it negative, Jane and Peter aren't or are not drinking coffee in the bar. Maria shopped for her dinner. Maria shopped for her dinner. Take your time, make it negative, and make a sentence. Focus with this sentence because we have a new note here. It will be Maria is shopping for her dinner. Now I want you, as we did with Shine, to focus very carefully and tell me, do you see something different between the original verb we used and the verb here? Okay, excellent, that's true. Here we have one P, here we have two P. Can you guess? Can you guess the reason? Okay, here is the idea. When I have a word ending with a consonant, and before the consonant I have a vowel letter, when I add ing to it, I double the consonant. For example, shop, P, consonant, O, vowel. So if I want to add ing to it, I double the consonant. So from shop with one P, it becomes is shopping, two P. Let's move on. If I want to make it negative, of course, Maria isn't shopping. My son talked to his friends on the phone. My son talked to his friends on the phone. So make the sentence and focus with the verb. Is it one of the notes that we took or not? If it's a normal one, we just add ing. If it's ending with a vowel, we remove it and we add ing. Okay, now with the correct answer. My son is talking to his friends on the phone. If I want to make it negative, my son is not talking to his friends on the phone. Okay guys, as you were saying before the break, we were explaining the present continuous. And we said when do we use it? We use it for speaking about something or describing an event that is happening right now as we're speaking. And we said to make a sentence, the one who did the verb to be, and ing that be added to the verb. Now we will move on. We will actually go through another tense that we took during this level, which is the past simple. Okay guys, first thing, the most important thing about any tense that we study, to be able to actually use it correctly and express yourself using this tense, is to know the usage. Or simply, when do we use this verb? Okay, past simple. Can you guess when do we use the past simple? Okay, simply, or as you may have heard during the explanation, past simple is used to speak about an action, that's happened and ended in the past. Again, and focus about this point. When do I use past simple? I use it to speak about an action, something that happened in the past and ended. Not here anymore. So now let's move on and speak about the sentence. Just 1 second, guys. 1 second. Okay, sorry guys, now back again. Now we're speaking about how to make a sentence with the past simple. As you can see from the title of the tense, simply it is called past simple. So to make a sentence, it is actually easy and one of the simplest way to make sentences. To make a sentence in the past simple, all I need is the one who did the verb and the verb but in the past form, and focus so much with this. The common mistake that people do usually when they try to make a sentence is they forget to put the verb in the past form. Like people tell you, yesterday I go to the club, or yesterday I travel with my friend. You cannot say this. To make a sentence in the past simple, remember, first, to put the verb in the past form. Second, not to put anything else. A lot of people make mistake and feel something is missing with the word. I need to add something. So they put verb to be to it. Don't. To make a sentence in the past simple, all I need to do is simply the one who did the verb and the verb in the past simple. Now let's go with the examples and see. Like somebody, before we go through, somebody may ask me, so if it's so easy, what is the trick? Like if I only put the one who did the verb and the verb in the past, where is the trick? The trick is, the verbs are not all the same. We have two types of verbs. The first type is called the regular type, the normal one. Is it easy? What is the regular? The regular is simply, if I want to make the verb in the past, I add ed to it, as you can see here. Like the verb cook from the past, it becomes cooked. The verb watch in the past, it becomes watched. The verb help in the past, it becomes helped.